So a lot has happened in the world of tech, and today we want to talk about this week in tech. Welcome, my name is Kwame. Top of the list, so there's the MTN fiber cable wahala that just happened, and there's Samsung about to release a couple of new set of phones. There's the Motorola Razr, the foldable phone that we've been anticipating, which is almost here now. And then there's Google, who hits like 1 trillion in valuation, right? Their mother company did that. And then if you're a Twitter lover, Jack Dorsey has some information for you. Not so good, but you may like it or not. And then again, Facebook and WhatsApp, Mark Zuckerberg is about to bring us some dark issues on our apps. And then let's get into the details, right? So starting off with MTN. So we all heard about MTN undersea fiber cable getting cut, right? So for instance, if you are in Ghana and you're an MTN user, your data went off. A lot of businesses lost count on ability to use the internet to work. A lot of people who are mobile users also lost their data because they couldn't use it to do anything. People were furious. People went on social media and they fumed, tweeted, and said a lot of things. But eventually, MTN got to sort out the issue and data was restored. Now, when data was restored, now they've been compensating people. I'm pretty sure that maybe you may have received some 2 gig free data on your phone, right? I did, so let me talk about that, right? So now that data has been restored, it's still a little bit murky, you know. So now the question that we ask is it time that we start thinking about not putting all our eggs in one basket? Because imagine now we are in the world of internet. Everything we do runs on internet. So when you go to the office one time and you are not able to work just because your service provider has internet issues and you couldn't work, how much money was lost within the period that the internet went off? How many businesses were affected? How many personal business deals got affected with this? Let's think about having backup internet service providers for ourselves wherever or whenever we do our transactions, right? Because it wasn't only Ghana that it was hit. I mean, when the cable was cut from Portugal, it affected the Canary Islands, the Cape Verde Islands, Cape Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Togo, DRC, Namibia, South Africa, Ghana, Togo, Nigeria. So all of them, everybody was affected. Look at all of this, from all the way from Lisbon down to South Africa. All the countries that have MTN internet working on there were affected, and affected a lot of businesses. So let's have backup, just like I say. Now moving on to the next one. So Samsung is about to release a set of brand new phones. And the thing is, you know, we've had the Galaxy S series, right? From S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7, S8, S9, and last year they released the Galaxy S10. And this year, obviously, a new phone is about to come out, but they decided not to name it S11, just as people were anticipating it to be. Because we are in the year 2020, and it's a new decade, Samsung jumped the name from S11 to S20. So what are we talking about? What are we looking at? They are going to release an S20, an S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra, just like how they would do previously, right? But this is how it is. Look, the phone has crazy specs, right? The phone has crazy specs. Let's talk about a 120 Hz Infinity O display. So display alone, right? Talk about 120 Hz. That is freaking amazing. Like your phone, your display would be so great, and it has 120 Hz refresh rate. And the size for the Galaxy S20 Ultra is 6.9 inches. So which is, think of like a Note 10 or like a Note, think of a Note 10, the size of a Note 10, almost the same. And then it would either come with a Snapdragon 865 or it would come with an Exynos 990 chipset, which is pretty amazing. And the good thing is that it has a lot of storage. So you can have a 512 internal storage or 128 gigs internal storage, and you can even expand it with a micro SD to get to 1 terabyte. How much storage do you need in a phone, right? But Samsung is giving you all of this. In the Galaxy S20 Ultra, it has 108 megapixels main wide camera. Listen, 108 megapixels main wide camera, right? And then it's going to have a 48 megapixel telephoto camera with a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. And this is freaking amazing. Like, I don't know what you are going to use a 108 megapixel main camera for, but that is what is coming, right? So in the Galaxy S20 Ultra, you have all these in there. And then the good thing about it is that you have a 5,000 milliampere battery. in that phone. That means that almost a day and maybe a couple of hours into the next day, you could use your phone without charging it. And look at the S20 also has almost the same specs, just that now the size of the phone drops a little bit to 6.7 inches. And then there's Exynos 990, the same thing, but the storage now doesn't have the 512 option. It has only the 128 gigabytes option, but it can also be expanded with a micro SD to 1 terabyte. But the S20 Plus doesn't have the 108 megapixel, but it has a 12 megapixel main camera, a 64 megapixel telephoto camera, which is higher than what is in the S20 Ultra. And then it has a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, which is very, very fine. And then it has a 4,500 milliampere battery, which is like the Galaxy Note 10 battery, right? Then the S20, which is a little bit smaller in size and also have a bit of the specs reduced, just like how it is. So instead of having a 108, it has a 12 megapixel main camera, 64 telephoto camera, just like how the Galaxy S20 Plus looks like. But the only difference is that the battery is reduced here to 4,000 milliamperes battery. I mean, this is pretty amazing. All of this camera behind the phone for one person to use. I don't know what else you are looking for. Thing is that the phone is coming out just next month at Samsung's Unpacked event, which happens on February 11. They'll be launching the phone, so everything would be official, and they would announce when the phone would go out on sale. So if you want to pre-order, they will announce. You can also go there and then pre-order things for yourself. But let's move on from Samsung and talk about another mobile device, the Motorola Razr. This phone, I don't know if you are somebody that was into flip phones back then. It used to be the ish, like everybody wanted to use a flip phone, right? That was the ish back then. Now the Motorola Razr was supposed to have been released last year in December, but they postponed the date, and now the Razr is also coming out on February 6th. And if you love this phone and you want to buy it, it's going to cost you just $1,499, $1,499, and you can get one for yourself. It is pretty cool. It would come with Android 10, obviously, and it would work as beautiful as every other foldable phone would work. But the good thing with this Razr is that you can just close it and put it in your pocket, just like how we used to do it before in time. But let me move on from the Motorola Razr and talk about money. Google's mother company called Alphabet, right, is the 4th tech company in the US that currently is valued at 1 trillion. No, I'm not talking about billion, I'm talking about trillion. A lot of zeros behind the one, right? Apple was the first company that was valued at $1 trillion. And then Amazon also came, and then Microsoft also was valued at $1 trillion. And now Google's mother company Alphabet has also joined the fray. I mean, we are looking forward to a time where a Ghanaian tech company would also be valued at $1 trillion. You know, that would be amazing. Maybe MG or MG Digital, or you never know. I mean, we are still waiting. This is pretty cool. It's good news for Google, and I'm sure all of us gave them a bit of that money to be able to do it. But let me move on from Google and talk about Twitter. So this guy, Jack Dorsey was in Ghana a couple of months ago, and he plans on coming to live in Africa for 6 months, so he would study our market, and then he would build on Twitter or build a business here in Africa. So there are a lot of times that people have tweeted, you've tweeted something and you wish you could edit it, just like how you have an edit button in Facebook and other platforms. People have been wanting to edit tweets for so long. And somewhere last year, there was an interview that Jack Dorsey was almost giving signals like they were going to add an edit button. He said they were considering it. Then all of a sudden, there was another interview earlier this year, and Jack says, no, don't expect us to put an edit button in Twitter. So I'm sorry if you were there and you were expecting to get an edit button to edit tweets in the past, because any tweets that you've tweeted that was bad could probably come back and bite you in the butt. Because sorry, the edit button is not coming anymore, because in that session it was a Q&A session, and somebody tweeted and then asked Jack Dorsey whether they would edit the tweets, they would add an edit button to the tweets, and Jack said, no, we've made some practical considerations, but we probably will never do it. The thing it is that the inspiration of Twitter came on the back of SMS, right? So you can't send somebody a text and recall the SMS and edit. And because that is the foundation of Twitter, Jack thinks that it's not right for anybody to put an edit button in Twitter. And so maybe we may never see it. Maybe if luck comes to the size of tweets, we may be able to get it. But for now, forget about that. And let's move on from Jack and Twitter and talk about Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. So, you know how when it's late in the night and you are staring on your screen and it looks all white, especially when you are browsing on Facebook or you are WhatsApping, it's not advisable, right, to be staring at a white surface when it is in the night. So dark mode became very relevant. So a lot of apps are introducing dark modes into them. Telegram has a dark mode, and Facebook has been trying to put a dark mode in WhatsApp for a while now. They are still working on that, and eventually it would come out pretty soon. But Facebook would be the first out of the Facebook group that would have a dark mode. So for beta testers, we have been seeing it. Somewhere last year, I saw a dark mode on my Facebook because I'm a beta tester, right? So it's almost official now that the dark mode is coming on Facebook mobile and Facebook desktop or Facebook web. So this is how it's going to look like. Everything, all your icons are well placed and positioned for you. You can see everything as perfect as it used to be. How the dark mode would work is that you just have to turn it on, right? So there's a button that you would use to turn on if you want to see dark mode or if you don't want to see dark mode. And the same thing would happen when it comes to WhatsApp. This is how we want to round up on tech today. So there's a lot of things going on. Let's see how next week is also going to pan out in This Week in Tech. My name is Kwame. Stay tuned for more. See you. Peace out.